split. Your way, Carrick, let's head in. It's no longer the Vietnamese croc series, it's the Vietnamese catfish series. I'm sorry.
I'm just letting it hang. Just letting it hang for a second. Your way, I have a simple question for you. I'm going to ask you this question every time there's a Zeri on one team. Which champion on SE has point-and-click CC?
Well, last game we talked about them kind of ignoring the Zeri, and then it ended up being... it ended up being Nagia just coming to the rescue. Well...
They had point-and-click CC. Which champion on SE has point-and-click CC, your way?
Technically Poppy. It's
No.
easy displacement, and it's point-and-click.
Well, that's not going to work, is it?
Maybe she's close enough to a wall. We saw what Celebrity did with Zeri last game, so
True.
Never know.
I guess if your point-and-click CC is like throwing a rock at the enemy ADC on the stage, that might work out. Because I'm convinced that's what had to happen for Celebrity for him to
Not
make
entirely
such
sure
a
what you're pointing and clicking there, but sure.
Well, I don't know. As DNK a little bit caught out, having to flash away at level 1. They were just trying to get a ward on the red.
Well, we have a lot of early jungle clashes in this matchup, and I'm here for it. It's all about this Poppy early invading, trying to offset the enemy jungle clear, and of course it will profit the Poppy. Well, not really as a champion, but in terms of just being useful with less stats. So she just wants to delay the enemy jungle as much as possible, so that she can also be delayed, which is fine for her, but not so fine for the enemy jungle. So basically the old Xin Zhao into Karthus kind of thing, where you just annoy him, and you are going to be useful with level 3 and he's not. Let's see if she can actually make it work. That's early flesh blown once again for the Poppy, but of course, we are living in a world where Hex Flesh Poppy is a thing, so still a lot of potential for creative and weird paths into some lanes.
It's very true. I think it's hard to gank too many of the lanes, is the only issue. Glory should be able to play far enough back that, and also getting over interesting angles on mid is quite hard. Bot lane, it's a Tahm Kench, that's pretty tricky, and I mean, I actually haven't watched enough lane Shyvana to know how vulnerable she is, but I think she should be okay. Oh, Glory, as we say it, has had to use his flash.
Yeah, that's good for Dia1. Now he might have a little bit of a solo kill, okay, or just
Glory!
Now. That was lazy, Glory. I wanted to talk about the potential solo kill at level 6, but I guess you can also just walk up to Dia1, who still has Flash and Charm already, and die like that.
I don't understand why. I looked, he was walking up and I went, oh. Like, did he not have TP or something? So he had to stay in lane, but he had TP. He could have just backed.
Yeah, greed. There is nothing to understand about that. It's just greed. That's not a good start for Wales. This time they have the Zeri on their side, also the Shyvana, who scales pretty well into the late game as... Whoa, Glory, calm down, my boy.
Glory, super hard pushing, but is able to surf away. Even gave them a little bit of a dance. DNK wants to at least give him a few slaps on the bum on the way out.
Oh, but, they've adopted the humanoid strategy. Just gank mid lane over and over again, let him in, and then we win the game. It has worked in LEC against Fnatic a whole lot of times, so maybe it's something SBTC can also employ to finally win a game against these better teams, or a series, I should say. They usually do win games, but can they win this?
On the way in, exhaust onto Celebrity. They want to try and hunt him down. There's a fair bit of protection, particularly with that spell shield. He's actually able to get out, just burning the ghost.
No flash burn from either side. So cool, calm, and collected.
Oh, again, they go mid. Steadfast presence, locking Glory down for now, but it looks like he is able to just walk away.
Dia1, there was a free kill. Your jungler did spend so much time setting you up, and then he missed his charm. Good sidestep from Glory, who is quite tilted, as you can see, with his emote usage. Hopefully he can recover here, because he's still only 1 kill down. And sure, a few CS and a little bit of lane pressure, but that's fine. As long as he can recover and be a late game threat. Uh-oh, Killer Queen. Don't do it, Killer Queen.
Dun, 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 dun. Hex Flash over the wall does allow DNK to steal away some Krugs.
This is exactly what you want to do with an early advantage on an Ahri lane. Just instantly go into the enemy jungle, permanently sit on top of their jungler, and just make their life a living hell. Make the mid laner regret all his life choices as well, because he has to stay under tower for the whole rest of the game, especially without ult or flash. And Glory's flash is still not up for another 2 minutes probably, so it's another 2 minutes of suffering. Top lane is pushing as well, so SBTC in full control of the whole map, and their bot lane even tanked to gank too, so it's going super well in this early game. Already almost 1k gold ahead, and
Tier 1 tries to make a play under tower, but Killer Queen is here. The Spirit Rush will get him to safety, but good time.
Oh, Glory, no!
Oh, Glory! Careful, careful! Now, moving forward,
Nice
CBL very far ahead of his team, but Paulette here to make sure nothing happens. And SC once again absorbed. Under the tower goes Paulette, gets himself a kill!
SBTC has come to play in this game. They know the early game. They are the best early game team in the league, and
CBL has grey health. Might need to press E. Wow, really edging it there. Killer Queen, careful, mate. W's away. God, they are playing on the absolute edge of a knife.
Yep, Team Wales, that's the Team Wales we know and love. That first game was weird, trying to play a little bit of a new style of late game, calm Team Wales, but maybe they should have done that in this game as well, because so far it's not treating them well. SBTC, I talked about this earlier, best early game stats in the league, even though they haven't won against one of the better teams in a very long time. The early game stats have consistently been stellar, almost 1k gold up in 15 minutes on average, so they are still a force to be reckoned with early on in the game, and with this early lead for DR1 and DNK, they are now ready to transition it over to their side lanes, their main carries in team fights. Emperor and Celebrity have almost all the MVP points between the two of them, and there's a reason for that. They are usually the ones to bring it home. So now I want to see if DR1 can transition some of his lead over to Emperor especially, but Celebrity on the Civ is probably just there to wave clear.
Another collapse in on the mid lane, both teams having some representatives here. CBL and Killer Queen will fend off more aggression that was pointed towards Glory. Nagia has gone into that dragon form, but Emperor's going to pick him up. Solo kill number a gajillion?
XX. 40 something probably. 41, 42, who knows? But not allowed for DNK to make an entrance. Emperor with a clean solo kill on Nagia, and that's a plating on top of that too. Everything going SBTC's way. But remember, the same happened yesterday against SGB and they lost the game, so it's not out. They're not out of it yet. It didn't look possible for Emperor to win this, but I really underestimated the damage of the second part. Perfectly executed. Emperor just sniping him down, and the action never stops.
It's another fight in the mid lane. They just don't want to let Glory have fun.
Poor little froggy.
Oh my, oh my. Looks like Rift Herald is where these teams have their eyes set. Both junglers are around. Are either bot lane on the move. It's going to be Celebrity with the first opportunity to move. Just depends if he actually wants to. It looks like no, he's going to return to lane. So a 4v4 around Herald.
It's quite surprising to me how high the priority here is for both of these teams, but especially SBTC on the Rift Herald, and not so much around the first dragon, which you have to remember, all these dragons are buffed. The individual dragons actually are quite nice to have, and for Shyvana team especially, so Team Wales not trying to make any counter moves towards the dragon, while right he already has priority, is really surprising to me. Looking at their stats, dragon rates very similar, close to 50%, and herald rates a little bit more in favor of SBTC, which is to be expected with a better early game team, but it might be yet another Rift Herald for DNK, Emperor, and DR1. Paulette not level 6 yet, so I don't think they're going to
Killer Queen is in the area. Can W over the wall, but I don't think they're going to. They're just going to give this one up, but not getting any pressure on the dragon. They actually didn't even get a tower plate onto the Zeri. It was stopped with very, very little health left. Is Killer Queen going to go for the steal here? They have vision.
Good try.
I don't think he's going to. No,
he has wasted so much time now. You need to do something on the other side of the map. Your ADC's just farming away, the enemy ADC's farming equally, your mid lane actually had some mid pressure right now. Why are you not trying to go into the enemy jungle and at least counter jungle a bit if you're not confident enough to take the dragon? Because that thing needs a lot of time to actually be beaten, but at least do something on the other side. Try to prepare die for anything. This was just wasted time, and he didn't even get a better reset timer. The reset timer was equalized. And he's even in CS2. Killer Queen has lost his vision for this game entirely, and DNK is running amok around him.
Certainly seems that way so far. Honestly, overall, it looks like Team Wales have sort of lost the plot. They're 3k gold down.
Yeah, this is not looking great for Team Wales, and what a different look for them. I mean, to be fair, in the first game, their early game didn't look great either, so there's still potential for a comeback. SBTC has thrown games has looked shaky, or shaky is putting it lightly, in team fights, but Lorry, oh, that's a good disengage. That's the ultimate from Palette. That could give them priority over the Dragon if they choose to invest some resources over there. Nagia no TP, but he could just walk down. He's a very fast champion. As long as the righty doesn't die, there is a little bit of a chance for Wales to fight for this Dragon.
I think one of the only issues is that they are the red side team, and it's very hard to approach the Dragon against a Poppy when you're the red side team. It's just so easy to hit the knockaway. You have to come out of a choke.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, this whole composition just looks on the back foot for Team Wales. They have very little they can really make happen. It's all about countermeasures. It's all about counter-engage, waiting for the enemy team to overextend, then maybe Shyvana comes in, pushes one off. There's also Killer Queen with a little bit of CC, but most importantly, Glory. Yeah, I'm not loving what I'm seeing so far from them, but once again, we need to give them a little bit of time. In teamfights, it's still a Zeri. There's still a lot of potential for them to just kill everyone, honestly. And especially someone like DNK might struggle to restrain himself, because Sophie has been crazily aggressive on this Poppy, but she's still just a jungler tank, and into 2 hyper carries, she probably dies pretty quickly.
Dragon form comes out. Killer Queen is here. They want to try and get onto Enpo with the perfect execution, though. He's got a free escape.
Yeah, XD. Ganking Akali, XD.
Well, I mean, it means that Nagia probably won't get solo killed for a little while.
Hopefully. He should be out of the worst of it. Yes, Lorry is definitely not.
Once again, he goes for the shove under tower, then zooms himself out, gives him a little bit of a dance.
That's beautifully done.
He's been yanked a lot, and he's only died twice. Honestly, not too bad.
That was actually really nicely done. You thought about this a bit, because pushing them back into the tower actually removed the steadfast presence from him. Then he could follow up while they had to evacuate, because they don't want to stand on the tower. Very smartly done from Glory, and that was pretty easy. Didn't have to use flash, didn't have to use anything. Ultimate, but that's fine. That's not a big investment at this point. Crown completed as well, so he's not really the target for burst. Looking to scale, and at this point, that's all we have to look at for Team Wales.
DNK here in the top lane. Palette as well. Killer Queen here to protect his top laner, but that Herald is going to get its charge unless they find the eye right now. Spider down. No charge comes out for SE. That's a bit of a tragedy.
And the tower was so low. This could have been first tower, really opening the map in the gold lead, but nicely covered from Killer Queen, and a little bit of a blunder for DNK. If you spawn this into your own lane, you can protect it so much more easily. Spawning it directly under the tower gives you only one way where you can approach it, because the other way is the tower, where you still don't want to go. SBTC, by the way. Towers, bad. Don't go there. So, yeah, another blunder on the tower from SBTC, and the game is slowing down significantly from 3-0 and 2k gold lead 5 minutes ago to still that same state of the game, now at 14 minutes, and it's still advantageous for SBTC. They still have a Sivir and an Akali to work with. Nagia just changing over his form to have more HP and be harder to dive. They're still going to attempt it.
Wall knocked up, executed. He goes down, Enper picking himself up another kill.
Nicely done. That's another one. Not a solo kill this time, but channeling the kills onto Enper. It's gonna make Arighty's days that much harder, because, yeah, he doesn't have lockdown, but death is the best CC, so Enper might just be able to assassinate Arighty for the rest of the game. The tower is still alive, though, so at least Nagia saved the tower.
It's like Arighty and Celebrity have been having a bit of a biffo, as ultimates have been burned. Both of them are continuing just to farm up. I think they might have just gotten bored.
Yeah.
Just put in all chat, hey, want a 1v1.
Understandable. Well, yeah, this dive is just really good chaining of CC. If you look, who's tanking for the longest while DNK was tanking, but so many shields from Palette, so that was at least one tower shot extra from just the 2 shields from Palette, E and his Guardian as well. So just really nice juggling. Also the CC very well chained together. Nothing really for Nagia to do there. And Nagia is in a really bad spot right now. He's not winning the side lane. He's only building HP right now. It's not really big damage threat. He's not getting the free stats from Dragons, which you always kind of bank on as top lane Shyvana. You want your... Oh my god. Speaking of which, it's getting 43. From bad to worse.
43.
Aye. And Carrick's, I checked the stats of the first round matchup, and to be fair, Wales won the best of 3 there, but the first game was SBTC winning against them, and well, Nagia's stats in that game were 0 and 5. Well, 9 assists, but 0, 5 in the first 2 columns. We might be in for another one of those. It's not looking great for him.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way, but this is looking a lot better as they go down to the bottom side.
Okay.
But Palette just has so much mobility. Killer Queen going to keep trying to follow it up, brings down the hammer, and will pick themselves up a kill.
I'm pretty sure CBL landed a sneaky Q in there to actually make sure the kill was on.
What actually happened?
Nagia, just run to your tower. Don't even try it. You know you're gonna lose. This has happened 3 times now. Can we just run to the tower, please? Hopefully he's learned now.
Oh, Celebrity could be in trouble as they're moving down onto him, but a Ghost and a Sivir ult means he's pretty speedy. In the mid lane, it's Glory once again under attack, does the same move with the shoop de whoop, and gets himself out.
He has this figured out perfectly. Twice in a row now. Perfect execution on that one. Just ultimate the Poppy away from you first, then she has to go away from the tower, and you can follow up with the E. Very nicely done. Once again, doesn't have to blow his flash, so Glory is just tanking pressure, and he's staying even in CS. That's all he can do. The rest of his team needs to put in some of the carry performance as well. Top lane is not really stepping up, but bot lane is looking okay, and Killer Queen and bot lane together, getting 1 tower under the belt, is first step in the right direction. Still 1 and 4 in kill score. Not what you wanted to go for. But I don't think they're really out of this game yet. The next dragon is going to be an interesting one. Are they going to try and contest this one or just let it slip and try to go for the one after that? Because if you just let the dragon slide over and over again into this Akali composition that can also just go into side lanes, Ahri as well can shadow or go into the other side lane, suddenly they can just spread you thinner across the whole map. So you need some objective to actually make them come into you where you want to be.
I couldn't agree more your way, and this Akali is only going to become more of a problem. We talked about the lack of point-and-click CC on SE as Ariete. He's in so much trouble, caught out by Dia, but the Immortal Shield Bow coming in, keeping him alive. Nagia playing bouncer as well. Ariete survives by the hair on his chinny chin chin.
He got stunned there by one of the point-and-click CCs, so maybe they do have a few more tools than we thought, but Ariete just needs to be super cautious around Dia 1, because he, of course, has another CC with his item. We kind of forgot about this one, but if Dia 1 could just lock him down for long enough for Palette to then come in and CC him, that was very close to getting the kills, and that was already against Shield Bow, so I can see their engaged profile. Now, they also have to deal with CBL just standing behind Ariete and just helping him out there. So SBTC is still figuring out how to play the team fights in this one, but they have very good tools in their arsenal this time to figure it out for as long as they need to do.
Nagia once again in trouble. Enpa's probably really upset that Dia 1's here, because that's not a solo kill. He wanted number 44.
Scumbag Dia 1 stealing that assist away. Of course, still good for the team, but we wanted 44.
Oh, Glory in trouble this time. No, that's Ariete. What am I talking about? I just assumed. My brain stopped working for a moment. Ariete will fall.
Beautifully done. And DNK on this Poppy, it's a menace. Not so much in late game team fights, but his early playmaking and his vision for ganks is so nice. Both of these teams, so much action, and we don't really know DNK to be first in jungler, right? You had this whole shtick, this whole spiel about him being, well, just not very good as a first in, always performing better as the secondary engage. But in this Poppy, I think he's trying to put in another word for himself.
Certainly is. I almost think it might have to hit the ban list.
Yeah.
It seems to be stifling a lot of what Team Wales wants to do. And SE is showing that they're happy to pick this Poppy super early every time it's available. And I feel like Team Wales, I'm assuming this goes to game 3. It's not over yet, but it is a big lead for SE right now.
Yeah, and you should certainly consider the Poppy ban, because it's banned in almost every other league. So just bite the bullet, ban away the Poppy, and give yourself a better jungle matchup as Killer Queen. Oh ho!
Oh, there's a catch. Celebrity will go down. Arietti spooled up. 2
That's
kills
huge.
out of nowhere for the Whales. Tier 1 forced to just run away. They'll get mid lane tower. That's an objective bounty. They're
2.
looking to Baron.
Yep, they got to the top lane objective bounty as well. Oh, Baron. Baron is scary. They do have a big tank. Right, he has only 1.5 items. I don't think they have the damage. They want to turn,
they can bait it.
The enemy team has vision, by the way, guys. They have the vision pool thingy from the scuttle.
Yeah, I mean, you could be hiding in the back of the pit. There's the Yeet being charged. Only knocks away the Tahm Kench, though. Nagia needs to try and find a way forward. Doesn't have the Fury ready to go into that dragon form, though, so SE do fend the Baron off, but it's still a big fight back from Wales.
Look at this gold swing. A minute ago we were looking at 37k gold against 31k gold, and now it's suddenly only 3k gold apart. And sure, the enemy team is still not in a bad position. They still have super strong champions, but do this once again and suddenly Glory's on 2.5 items. Suddenly, right, he's in the game, and Nagia is tanky enough not to die to Emperor. Hopefully he's at this point already, but kind of doubtful. Emperor's the big carry. Emperor's the one they look to carry them through this game, because Celebrity's
having a shocker today.
a pretty bad series. To be fair, there was a lot to deal with, and it's pretty hard to play against all these different threats, and it's just Killer Queen and Glory working in tandem. We talked so much about this potential new, hyper-aggressive, very interesting mid-jungle duo, and Glory's performance has dropped a little bit in the back half. It's more Nagia actually stepping up. Not so much this game, as you can see, but they still have this dynamic engage sense, two very aggressively minded players working together and knowing exactly what the other wants to do.
What do you think about Nash's tooth second on Glory?
We've seen this a few times now. It's a new Azir build where you go Crown for safety and the Nash's Tooth to deal as much damage as possible in longer team fights. You also always go Conqueror on this build, so it makes sense to me. I would actually like to see the Azirs that build this combination of items also play like they built it, so don't go for engages. Actually use your auto attacks, because that's literally what you're building for.
But you understand your way. Shurima Shuffle makes the brain go burr.
I do understand it's actually quite good too, but if you want to go Shurima Shuffle bot, then build Shurima Shuffle bot. Building for auto attacks and then not auto attacking is the biggest crime, but so far, Glory has actually played a decent game. I mean, in the last instance, going for the Shurima Shuffle was absolutely the correct idea. So, yeah, look at this. The individual attacks don't really deal that much damage yet, but he has a lot of attack speed. You have to remember, Azir gets, I believe it's 60% on his W passively, and then if he has 3 soldiers out, he gets another 60%, plus the 50% from Nash's Tooth. So he's looking at something like 2 attack speed, with fully Conqueror stacked on 4 or 5 items. That's a lot of damage. And those things pierce.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. I think we can agree on that one your way. As he is continuing to farm up, has CBL shadowing him, so I think the Whales know where their bread is buttered, as they want to empower this Emperor as much as they can. SE on the other side of the map are about to move up the Soul Point.
Yeah, and Team Wales is not even trying to contest this. This is making me anxious, because giving this up so easily when you have a 4-0 Akali on the other side, how are you going to ever deal with the next dragons coming up? Like, even if the enemy team actually gifts you a dragon, the Akali can probably just push in the top lane. No one is able to defend against her. I hate giving up soul point this early for so little resistance. I can see why you're doing it. You're not trying to risk it on this item break point, which also makes sense. It's Azir, it's Zeri. You're trying to get to items, but do you really want to risk fighting against the strongest soul in the game? I don't think you really can, because the enemy teams are no slouches either. 3 items, Sivir, Ari with all the added movement and impairment from the Hextech Soul is actually very hard to deal with, for especially Zeri, so this is looking risky.
It absolutely is, and just want to point out, Nagia has been forced to go Warmog second in this game. That just says that he's going to stay in the side lane, he has to go up to the wave, take half of his health bar and damage from Emperor, run away, and then wait for the regen and just do it again. Because he cannot do much else.
I just hope he actually learned that kind of passage of play as well. Because last time he met Emperor, he ran at him instead of away from him to the tower. So we can only hope that he learned and is now just going to be defending at his tower. Because if he walks into Emperor, even with the Warmogs, Emperor's going to one-shot him. He has 3 items in. That Shyvana does not scare him.
No, not at all. This time he is jumping at him, but it's because he's got a team on the way. Emperor hiding in the smoke. Perfect execution. They brought 4 and they got nothing.
Okay, that's a trade of ultimates in the top laners, which for team fights, they are almost equally important. It's really hard to actually get a read on which is more important, but considering one is 4-0 and the other is 0-4, it's probably a good trade for Wales. There's no real objectives right now.
Cooldown as well, though.
That's true.
If he goes and hits stuff, he cheats the cooldown.
That's very true. So maybe there's a little bit of an opportunity where Nagia has his ultimate ready, but Enped is not. So let's see if Wales tries to pounce on this opportunity.
They catch on to Paulette for just a moment, but they don't want to commit anything. They know that Rakan would have been able to find a way out. So it's just wave clear, wave clear. SE have really taken their foot off the gas here.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how to play, but you have to remind yourself they're sitting at soul point and the soul is coming up in 2 minutes, and it's Hextech Soul, so why not just play it safe, don't give up anything there, try to have all your summoners available, and just group around soul. You have a 4 Kali level 16, you have Celebrity on 3 items, and the enemy ADC is still pretty far away from her big power spike, so I can see why they're doing this, and Soul, I think, is probably the death sentence for this game, because Hextech Soul is just so insanely hard to come back against. So, yeah, I don't hate it, the way SBTC is conducting themselves in this mid and late game. Much better than last game for sure. The team fights, well, we haven't really seen many team fights, to be perfectly honest, but that's honestly the best thing that can happen, because they looked really bad in team fights, so the best way to get away from teamfights is build strong side lanes, get a huge advantage in objectives and in your side lane, and just run around the map, and the enemy team can never teamfight you, so you can never lose teamfights.
Interesting thing to note here is no tier 2 boots on Celebrity. He has made the decision that a BF sword is more important than tier 2 boots, and that means I think they want to fight in the next minute or so.
Yeah. And I think he's probably right. The enemy team doesn't really have that many threats that are going to be annoying for him, and if anything, it's Glory diving onto him, and boots are not going to save him against that. So he also has Ghost, he has his passive, he has his ultimate. It's probably a correct decision. Let's see where he goes with this sword. It could be GA if he wants to play it safe. Oh, speaking of playing it safe, righty.
Ariete, once again, saved by the Immortal Shield Bow. Keeping himself alive, needs to be very careful though. Any damage would be enough to take him down, but he does just back off.
Does his ultimate come off cooldown for the dragon fight? Not so sure. Righty, you need.
I don't think so.
He's trying to rely on red buff healing. Is it enough though? He needs to get to full HP, definitely. Now he really wants to get to level 60. I'm not sure how. Yeah, there it is. That's a good power spike for the side of Wales. This is just a huge meatball, and now he needs to be as tanky as possible just to distract the enemies. Oh, Wales with a call.
This is bold. This is a good call. I feel like this is your best chance to get back in the game. You lose Hextech Soul, but for the next 2 minutes, you will be the stronger team, at least in terms of external buffs. This is bold, but I think it's correct.
Giving up Hextech Soul is such a huge detriment.
Could you fight for Hextech Soul anyway?
I think you had to, but I guess we're going to see. The game is gonna tell us which was the correct decision. It's ambitious. It's
the thing. Okay, so I always put it in these terms, right? What's your chance of winning if you take Baron there? 20%, let's say. What's your chance of winning the team fight around Hextech Soul? 10%? You're really far behind.
I don't think those numbers are correct, though, because I don't actually think the Baron, getting Baron here does anything for them. It's a little bit of gold, but what's the gold going to do? You can't get rid of the Hextech Soul ever again, and how are you going to deal with that? So maybe the team fight was hard to win, but they actually had 3 items ready on both of their carries, so if you don't fight that, when are you going to fight? It's not going to get better ever again. Elder Dragon, I guess, but how are you going to approach the Elder Dragon into Hextech Soul? Let's see, maybe it was the correct choice. Wales at least gets a little bit of gold, and they remove the Baron from the map, which is nice, because now SBTC can't really do anything with the Hextech Soul immediately, which gives a little bit more time for Variety to get to that all-important IE. And maybe delaying for IE is actually enough, even against Hextech Soul. Maybe that's the call, and maybe I'm wrong about the power of Hextech Soul, but I'm just so scared every time I see the Soul on the screen, because the slows, the bounce, the damage, it's just too much. It's really hard to overcome.
I mean, I definitely agree. SE are obviously massively favored to win this game. I mean, if you do get to Elder Dragon in 4 minutes, you have Zeri and Azir. Glory, level 17 at the moment. Ariete, level 16. He should be able to get to that Infinity Edge. Those 2 champions can do a lot, even against a Hextech Soul.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with that. Their 2 carries are strong, and buying more time for their carries is always good. Just the rest of the supporting cast. Nagia with no dragons whatsoever, 0-4. Is he even gonna be able to stand up for a whole second? I'm not so sure about that against Celebrity on 4 items and Hextech Soul and so on. So the 2 carries might be strong enough, but is the rest of the cast also strong enough to buy them time? Because Zeri is not an insta one-shot champion, neither is Azir. They need some seconds to build their team fights, to play with positioning, to kite back and forth and actually get some opponents low. The enemy team just sticks together and kills your tanks. Not so sure if Glory and Variety can do it, but it's an interesting study in this game, and maybe if DNK overdives, if Palette goes too deep, there's a chance.
Speaking of it, there's the Shirelias being burned. Killer Queen finds his way onto the back line, but that Cyclone really isn't doing enough. He gets gobbled up by CBL, but it's going to be Enpa flying into the backside, takes down the Tahm Kench. Can he get a second? No, not quite. Killer Queen, no, he burns down in the end. If they can trade it onto Enpa, maybe now something can happen as Ariete moving forward. Can he find anything? Nagia left alive, and it's only Ariete, and he will not be able to do Zeri things. That is a 2 for 5. That's SE picking up an ace, and I think equalizing the series.
Hextech Power Death Ball of Doom. That was just SBTC moving together. Enpa doing a little bit of cool Enpa things on Akali, trying to channel this in an Hasmid, but huge shout out to Palette as well, who read the whole team fight so insanely well and jumped on top of Variety when Variety tried to go for the side, kiting on the sidelines and building up his stacks, but Palette had his number, jumped on top of him. SBTC is gonna take game 2.
And in true VCS fashion,